Hey everyone, so this is Joél, also known on YouTube as Joxel, and today we're going to talk a little bit about his coding bootcamp experience and also his thoughts about college versus the bootcamp. So let's jump right in. I
Okay.
guess quickly introduce yourself.
Yeah. So hey guys, my name is Joél Ramirez. I go by Joxel on YouTube, Instagram, and literally everything else. I make a few videos about my experience with the coding bootcamp as well as other technological things. I'm really into games, tech, and if you want to check this stuff out, feel free to check out my channel.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so first of all, what is your story about going to the bootcamp versus college, and I guess why did you choose to go to the coding bootcamp?
All right. So, quite a story. So basically, graduated high school. I was ready to go to college. I ended up deciding to take a different route because for me, college, I didn't have a lot of funds. I didn't have anybody pay for my college, so I had to come out of pocket for it. And I didn't want to go into like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of student debt willingly. But anyways, there was a local college near me. I live on the East Coast over in North Carolina, and there was a local technical college that I went to for a couple of years because I had a scholarship from my school in addition to financial aid. And that pretty much took care of pretty much all the costs for me. So the plan originally was to go to that college for 2 years, get an associate's degree, and then transfer to my local university, UNC Charlotte, to finish out my bachelor's in computer science. Basically, I ended up going. I did 2 years at York Tech. I lost my scholarship because of a mismatch of credits with my counselor, and ended up piling on extra credits my last semester to try and make up for it, which dropped my GPA a little bit because I was also working at the time. But ended up getting ready to transfer, got accepted, and UNCT told me that you were 1 point shy of being able to declare your major. So we're going to need you to take a new semester of classes to boost your GPA. And because I technically lived in South Carolina at the time, I had to pay out-of-state tuition, which was thousands of dollars difference if I had lived 30 minutes up the street. So I was like, yeah, screw that. I'm not doing this. And I need to figure something else out. So the next 6 months I kind of spent just working and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I kind of bounced between the idea of starting my own business, doing like marketing consulting, because I always did a lot of freelance graphic design and web development on the side. But I really wanted to have some sort of formal education. And around that time, I started seeing a lot of ads pop up for the UNC Coding Bootcamp over here in Charlotte that was sponsored by, I believe the company was called Trilogy. And yeah, I ended up saying that I ended up really struggling with deciding if I wanted to do that because, of course, it didn't hold nearly as much weight technically as a college degree, and everybody screams at you that college is the way to go, especially if you want to be successful in life. But I really felt like I had the necessary determination, ambition, and drive to be successful in whatever I wanted to do. So I figured that since I already had a little bit of experience in teaching myself, this would give me the enough formal education that I needed to at least get my foot in the door. Because I know that once I have my foot in the door somewhere, I'm going to make an impression. That's something that I've always believed about myself. So I ended up taking the assessment, passing, and pulling a loan and just diving into it as a marker to myself of taking a risk on my ability.
That is amazing. I think it takes like a lot of courage to go that different route, that alternate route, especially when everyone's like college is the golden ticket to everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's your opinion about the college bootcamp, the college versus the coding bootcamp?
So I definitely have strong opinions about college. Don't get me wrong. I believe that college is great and college is an amazing experience. And part of me wishes I would have had that experience. But I didn't feel like for what I was doing that the trade-off, the opportunity cost in this case was a necessary risk to take because I didn't want to put myself in a lot of debt, especially to join the software industry, which I believe that really values people who can solve problems and just do it well. You mentioned earlier that you felt like the software industry had a lower barrier to entry. I feel like that was kind of true, and it had a lot more leg room for me to be able to wiggle into an opportunity than I would if I had done something that was a little bit more for lack of a better word, a little bit more restricted.
Yeah.
But I think that with the boot camp provided me a lot more fundamental experience and the necessary core principles and concepts that I didn't expect to be able to take with me they even help me in my current job now. Do I think that to be straight, the boot camp is never going to hold as much weight as a college degree. Nobody expects that. Go into a boot camp, they tell you straight up, it does not guarantee you a job. and I went with that mindset. But I also could see the alumni and other people who take it getting jobs either before they graduated or soon after they graduated. So I saw that there was definitely opportunity there, and it was definitely possible. And I just really wanted to focus on that possibility.
Did you ever feel like you were at a disadvantage not having the college degree when you were applying for jobs?
Oh, absolutely. I felt like when I first started applying and I first got out, I was like, okay. That was when the imposter syndrome kicked in. That was when the feeling of like, all right, I'm going against people with a bunch of degrees. Like maybe I'm not going to look as good. And I think what really helped me feel a lot more confident was the fact that I've had a lot of freelance experience under my belt, and I did a lot of learning on my own. So I had little projects in your boot camp. If you decide to take one, they have you working on a lot of different projects to put in your portfolio. I was constantly working on projects, even side projects that I wanted to do myself, just to show that I had an interest and an ability. And I made sure to list those and like post them up and maintain them and everything. And I felt like that experience coupled with the education that I got would kind of give me a little bit more of a leg up when it came to just being able to apply with no experience or no degree. To answer your question, initially I did feel like it gave me a little bit of a disadvantage, but now like once you get your foot in the door, I can easily tell you're set. Because before I was trying to get people to call me back and get interviews, talking to recruiters, which is a whole different thing in itself. And I felt like I wasn't really getting the attention that I wanted. But once you get your foot in the door, you land at your first job, everybody suddenly sees you. It's like now you're official. So
it's insane how like once you have that first experience on LinkedIn, like you get so many messages.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the most ridiculous thing. Like that shouldn't even be a thing, right?
Yeah.
And I guess lastly, what's your advice for someone who wouldn't necessarily have the privilege to go to college?
Okay. My advice to somebody who doesn't have the privilege or who's like me, has to pay for it themselves and is really working about the financial burden that comes along with that, is that there are other options. That was something that I've always struggled with because I always wanted to believe, but I didn't have, granted I had a little bit of evidence from people who've talked to me and everything, but it was always split 50-50. It would be people who were out there with no degree saying like, yeah, you don't need college, and the people with a degree saying you need college. So if there's anything that this taught me is that college is definitely not the only way. It's a great way. And if you can afford it, or if it's something that's an opportunity for you and that's something that you're interested in, absolutely go for it. But if that's not something that you 100% want to do and you're considering your other options, I believe that no matter what you decide to do, as long as you're passionate about it, you're going to drive yourself to be good at it. You're going to drive yourself to want to improve, and you're going to drive yourself to want to succeed. And that alone, coupled with the motivation and direction, is going to take you where you want to go. So I believe that with the boot camp, I believe that with technical school, anything like that. But I do believe that with college, it's an awesome opportunity, but it's not the only one.
Definitely. I think like one of the takeaways is like whatever path you go, it really is all on you no matter what. Like there's no hand holding, right? Like if you go to college, they're not just going to give you a job. If you go to the boot camp, they're not just going to give you a job. But I think it's like ultimately your own responsibility to, take advantage and make the most of the situation that you're in.
Absolutely.
So, hey, thanks so much for chatting and like giving your, story and opinions. And that's honestly truly amazing that you're able to go a different path and make everything work.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk to you about my experience. I love sharing it with people, and I really hope that it helps somebody get some better idea or even have some more confidence in making decisions for themselves. Guys, be sure to check out my channel because I have a couple other videos on there, even with Matt, that talks about his experience and some of the things that he dealt with while he was getting into the industry. So be sure to check that out.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man.